Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. We're taking a quick look at Kadena, and before we do, we look at Bitcoin first as well, kind of know what's going on. So I think it's important you understand what's been happening here. So just to clarify, the biggest thing I want to kind of specify here is the fact that even though, yes, the price has ramped up pretty decent today, decent recovery, we've seen this before, it's usually a dead cat. We're not saying that's going to happen specifically here, but the fact of the matter is the price hasn't closed over 58,000 yet, right? So don't get too super excited. I hope you've been dollar cost averaging. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't put everything into Bitcoin right now just yet because we still truly don't know if we've hit the bottom yet. All right, so just keep that in mind. These are the $2 cost average zones, preferably to go ahead and add to your position. Now, let's go ahead and move on to Kadena. And just before we do, if you are new to the channel, just want to let you know this is for educational purposes only. I'm sure you've heard that before, but I don't just like to say that. It's honestly something I'm truly passionate about. So I love teaching people how to trade. I've been trading for over 15 years myself, and it's just something I love doing. I do this every day for work, so I can assure you you're in good hands, and you will learn a thing or two here today if you stick around and listen, and don't just fast forward to the end, because I actually give you predictions throughout the entire video, not just at the very end, because there's a lot of things you need to know. If you're not watching the whole thing, you're doing yourself a disservice, I can assure you that. That being said, check out my Patreon community if you get a chance. I do actually have a trading group where we actually work together and grow together. I share all my signals with my community members, and it's an amazing experience. So check that out in your own time. Looking at the one-day chart here. So just to specify, bottom line, we're below 70 but over 50 on the RSI. Perfectly fine. Not bad. Honestly, if we were below $15.20, then we'd be below 50 on the RSI, and that would be a bad thing, right? We're not there yet. I don't think we're going to get there. Honestly, the price could come down a little lower if Bitcoin were to retrace a little further, but for the most part, I think we're kind of out of in the clear, if that makes sense. We're just kind of stabilizing the price because the price jumped up really high, really fast, and it makes sense we're right around $20. Okay, so all in all, not bad. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, see what's going on here. So quickly note, price is below the moving average of 50, right? So the 50-day simple moving average is holding the price down presently. It's reaffirming the fact that we do have a resistance level right around $21.55. The 200 is trailing behind. That's pretty standard for the situation. It may eventually come and intersect with $15, which would be nice. Now, here's a good thing. Even though it looks like it's testing it, we are above 50 on the RSI. So that basically means we have a nice, decent support level here. It hasn't confirmed that it's going to stay above because we do have this little red candle here. But keep in mind, this red candle here is based solely on the fact that Bitcoin is selling off right now. Not selling off hard, it's only down at $200 or $300 on the hour, but generally speaking, this increase right here was caused by Bitcoin increasing. So as you can kind of see, Kadena is fairly following suit with Bitcoin recently. It didn't initially, but it is now because it's finding its average true range. So coins tend to do that when they ramp up, like IOTX is the same way, where it was totally moving independent of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing well, IOTX had this random pumps. Then all of a sudden, Bitcoin starts to struggle, and IOTX does as well. Kadena is kind of finding that right now at this point. It hasn't broken free from Bitcoin yet. We're not in altcoin season officially, so we don't see that. Just based on the fact that Bitcoin still has a decent amount of market capitalization, and people are trying to add to their Bitcoin right now every time it comes lower. Perfectly normal. So that's pretty standard here. We're going to see Kadena take off eventually again. I just don't think it's going to be in the real near future. That's my personal opinion based on what I see on the charts. All right, so we're looking good there, though. All things considered, we had a MACD convergence, between probably right around 3 a.m. sometime earlier today. So we can take a look at that, but that's the same MACD convergence you see on the Bitcoin charts and pretty much every other chart, just based on the fact that Bitcoin looks like it's found its bottom so far, and people are responding positively to that. There's a little bit more confidence in the industry being like, oh, okay, 56,000 is the new bottom. It's not official, but that's the tentative idea or consensus for the moment, which is what's going into the psychology of why this coin is acting this way. It makes sense though. It was doing very well back here. That was the initial dead cat from Bitcoin, sold off again. So you can just see these kind of knee-jerk reactions happening with Kadena, and it's pretty standard, I would say par for the course. So nothing to overwhelm yourself or overthink. It's all good in that sense. What is also good is the fact that we are making higher lows. And apparently, looks like we're making mostly higher highs. So if this next low can stay above this line here, preferably above the current support rather, at 352, sorry, $20.35. I don't know how I transpose that, but $20.35 is essentially a support level. We could stay above that, be awesome to another higher low. Then if our next higher high can be right around 2150 or higher, we'll be in good shape to continue this upwards. But if Bitcoin, just say Bitcoin drops to 56,000, we can expect Kadena to not shoot straight up, okay? I just want you to get that into your head. It hasn't proven to do that yet. It's done very well in the past, yes, but that's when Bitcoin was doing well, right? So that's why we look at Bitcoin first to see kind of the nature and symbiosis of the two coins, because if you can identify that, you can almost predict where this is going to go. Coincidentally, that's what I do day in and day out, right? There's a correlation, and I recommend you get good at predicting, or just more so understanding how Bitcoin moves. And then drawing a comparison between those two coins is probably the best thing you could do. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at for the 1 hour chart. Let's go ahead and take a look at potential prediction here. Now keep in mind, this is tentative, of course, because at this point, the most recent low up to the previous Fibonacci retracement line, we can see it only made it up to the second Fibonacci retracement line after pumping the second time. Okay, and that puts us about $28.30 as a resistance, which is why our profit target is just below 28, right at $28 even. So I don't know if you noticed that, but when you set a profit target, put it just below a Fibonacci retracement line or the most recent high. You're going to take profits a lot easier that way. So that's kind of where we're at. We're shooting for that as a community here, but generally speaking, we haven't gotten there yet because of these resets that Bitcoin keeps having. These dead cats are kind of essentially killing the momentum of a lot of coins, including Kadena, even though it is a very special circumstance that has true potential. So keep that in mind. It's kind of where we're at there for now. So let's look at a couple more things and call it a day. We are not above the cloud. If you see this, you see how the cloud is working as a resistance. It's keeping the price action down. So that could effectively work as a continuation to the downside, or if it breaks above and stays above, different story. That's why it's important and key for the price to stay and close above $20.32, just so we can get that continuation to the upside. All right, break through the cloud gives us a good indication of a buy signal. So if you're going to consider dollar cost averaging, now would be a good time, or at least soon within the next couple hours once it closes above. Right, that's kind of what my consideration would be if you were to, again, add to your position. Take a look at TD sequential. We can see, let me go ahead and remove these guys. Yeah, looking at TD sequential, we can see we hit a 9 recently, which basically just means that there's 9 hours of bullish momentum, followed by a little bit of overtime, and now we're getting that reset. So there's a strong potential we'll see the price at least go sideways, potentially even come down from here. So I think the likelihood of it coming down versus going up is much higher, which isn't terrible. It's not bad. It just gives us more buying opportunities. So again, if you're going to dollar cost average, do what I recommend to my trading community and make sure you only invest a small percent at a time. So add 10% right now, add 10% tomorrow. Don't put 100% into your bag right now, because yes, you might get lucky and the price goes up and you take some profits, but the price goes down, you're going to be sitting there with nothing left to invest, and that's not the right way to invest. Again, this is investing. Good traders have good risk tolerance. Bad traders are gamblers because they don't know anything about risk tolerance. So anytime you take an entry, set 3 profit targets and set a trailing stop loss, if nothing else. That's what you want to ensure you do. And that's why we use trading bots in our community, because the simple fact that you don't have that opportunity to enable multiple profit targets or stop losses or take profit percentages, all these things that really are important when it comes to being a good trader, essentially, that risk tolerance. You can't have that with traditional exchanges. Unfortunately, they don't allow it. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense, but trading bots allow for that. And we have a trading bot in our community where you just one-click follow every single trade that I take. It's a really awesome experience. So be sure to check that out in your own time, of course, but even if you don't, be sure you set a target before you get into a trade and hold true to that target. Don't waffle around and start changing things around. You set a goal and you stick to it. That's how you are successful in life, by setting goals, and that's how you do well in trading. Okay, so again, just a little friendly advice there, but that correlates here with the prediction and the price here quite accurately, in the sense that we won't see the price get up to $35.79 until Bitcoin pulls its head out of its ass, right? If we can get that to happen, we're going to be in good shape, because Kadena is a very good momentous trend, if you will. It trends very well when Bitcoin is doing well, right? So yes, Bitcoin has corrected before and Kadena kept going up. That's when it first established itself. Now that it's establishing its average true range, which we want to look at that really quick. By the way, the average true range in the last, I would say about 2 weeks of trading, we've seen the most amount of volume right around $22.80, which is essentially going to be a resistance level. And it's no coincidence that this major resistance level right here recently, where the price got stopped out, is the exact same place in which the most volume has occurred. Volume speaks loud. You want to listen. It's a very important indicator. That's why we also look at volume weighted average price if you're day trading on a shorter time frame. Those things all matter. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of where we're at here for Kadena. All in all, again, I do think $35 is realistic. By month end, possibly, again, if Bitcoin recovers. By year end, definitely more likely. I think that's just the case because we got to keep in mind there's only about 11 days left in this month here. Thanksgiving is already next week, and we're in a position where we're going to see some interesting stuff here. I think that this is a calm before the storm. I'm confident. I'm still very bullish on Bitcoin long term, and I think that we're in good shape there. So make sure you keep dollar cost averaging. That's, I guess, the recommended advice for the now. And until we get some recovery in Bitcoin, some stabilization, we get that 58,000 closing above the one-day candlestick, then we can maybe start thinking about some, a recovery. For now, still a little too premature, in my personal opinion. All right, I hope you found benefit here today. Thank you so much. Consider joining my Patreon community. Have a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.